All right, Chair Stewart, we should be good to go.
Fantastic. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I would like to call to order the special meeting for Friday, December 20th at 9 o'clock a.m. for the Township of Cavan Monaghan Municipal Revitalization and Heritage Advisory Committee. Our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Cavan Monaghan is located on the Treaty 20 Michi-Sagi territory in the traditional territory of the Michi-Sagi and Anishinaabeg. We offer our gratitude to First Nations for their care for and teachings about these lands. May we honor these teachings. I'm assuming that everyone's had a chance to review the agenda that Mark circulated earlier this week. If not, if everyone could take a look at the agenda. And once they do, if I could have a motion to approve the agenda. I see Nancy, and do I have a seconder? Thank you, Deb. Okay, all in favor?
Hold on, Chair. We actually have to call for a recorded vote because this is
Oh,
a
right,
hybrid
yes, yes, yes,
meeting. No
thank you.
problem. This is why I'm
Okay,
here.
okay,
Mayor Graham? Yes. Um, Ashley Stewart?
yes, good. In favor?
Sorry. Nancy Davis. Deborah Lucha? Harry.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, moving on to disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. I don't believe there is any today unless we have someone say something. Um, okay, jumping into our general business, the reason for the budget today. So as our committee members know, a couple of weeks ago, John and I went to the council meeting to present our budget intentions for 2025. Essentially, what came out of that is council directed the committee representatives, John and myself, to meet with township staff to review our request to clarify it and organize. There was just some confusion as to what was falling under operating budget, what was capital budget, our request for the summer student, was that coming out of a budget or was that just a grant program that our intent was? So long story short, John and I last week met with a number of town staff and everything was reorganized and put under the operating budget and the capital budget. So I have our revised intent for 2025. So under the operating budget, we were going to seek $500 for the Heritage Awards, $1,500 for the contracted services for the mural restoration, $1,000 for the landscaping at Station Park, $3,000 for signage at Springville and Ebenezer cemeteries, an addition of one new request for 2025, which is the funding for the summer student for cultural mapping project, which would be applied through a grant. Under the capital budget, the request is $14,000 with a rollover of $7,000 previously approved, which was previously approved funding for the Station Park signage project. So at the end of the day, we organized. It doesn't look much different from what we initially did. It's just organized clearly now under operating versus capital. It clearly identifies that the summer student intent would be a grant, and we eliminated a request that was specific to our signage intent, which we had intended as a committee to help with any cost incurred from basically building the signage graphics and policies and whatnot, and clarification after council and with township staff. Policies are created by the township, so there was no need to carry any funding to um, assist with any costs that might come out of that. So that was completely eliminated, and we can just focus on the project intents themselves, and the policies to help our projects will be done internally by and with help from the committee and township staff. Mark, does that make sense?
Yes. Sorry,
Okay.
Chair Stewart. I'm remiss. I'm not 100%, and I forgot to mention, Karen Ellis is supposed to be joining us virtually. She is not here
Okay,
right now.
okay.
Oh, sorry. Are you here, Karen? I didn't even see you. It must be the cold. Can you hear us, Karen? Hold on.
I see Karen.
Yes.
I'm going to
Her
promote you
hand
to a
is up.
panelist, Karen. Sorry about that.
Can you hear us, Karen?
It looks like she just has to turn on her video or like her camera.
No, no, she's not muted.
Karen, can you try to speak into your speaker?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you, just, it's very faint, Karen, if you can, I don't know if you can adjust the volume on your end. It's, we're up to almost full.
Okay, I'm up to 100.
There you go, perfect, Karen, we can hear you now.
Perfect.
Okay.
I forgot where we were.
Yeah, my apologies about that. I'm out of sorts this morning. Okay, don't let me interrupt the meeting anymore.
That's okay. So I was just, we just, or I had just finished an update in regards to the purpose of the meeting today and what happened at the council meeting for our presentation and post-council meeting. So at this point, if there's any questions or concerns we can discuss, or basically John and I are just left with the instructions that we needed to have this meeting in order to present this update, and that we just need to have a motion to remove the older requests and then present the new request and pass that motion.
I just have a couple of questions actually, and I don't want to get in the way. Like I said, I'm not a normal attendee, but while I'm here, I can't shut up, so I
Yep.
tend to overspeak. So with regards to the 3,000 in the operating for the cemetery signage, is that a rollover? Or is that a new ask? Because I think there was monies allocated for that project a few years ago. But I get confused because to me that's a capital project, but it's in the operating for your guys' purposes. I know because it's an ongoing line, so I didn't know if that was a rollover or not.
I'm not sure if the right term, because I always get a bit confused, rollover, but maybe it is because it has been there for multiple years.
Yeah.
Because like I believe Karen and John, sorry, not John, the previous chair, have been working on that for a while, so I know that it's rolled over. There was issues with finding the information and compiling the information in the sense of agreement on text. Karen, do you mind if I hand that over to you to chat about that one?
No, that's fine, Chairman Stewart. So you're quite right, Mayor Graham. It is a rollover. So the signage for Springville Cemetery has been a little bit delayed because we did have wording, and then we did receive a comprehensive report from Ministry of Transportation that they had done regarding the Springville Church and Manse. And so there was lots of additional information in that report that we wanted to review and then potentially incorporate into the wording for the Springville Cemetery signage. So that is ongoing, and I will freely admit to you and to the members of the committee, it's just a workload issue in terms of getting that finalized, but it's top of the line for 2025. Ebenezer Cemetery, which is up on Stewart Line, has been a bit of a more difficult challenge for us in getting accurate information. So that is still a work in progress. And we are hoping that with our renewed partnerships and communication with the Historical Society, that we will be able to get that locked down in 2025 as well.
Okay, yeah, I just asked because, you know, if we're gonna keep, like, I think it's the third year of rollover, if I'm not mistaken, and I just like, if it's not going to be used this year, we should use it for things we're gonna do this year, and then just ask for it again later, rather than rolling over and adding other things. So that was the catalyst for my question, but I'll leave that discussion and consideration to the committee. I mean, like I said, it's gonna be another tight budget year, as everyone's aware, so I'm just, if we're not spending the money, we shouldn't ask for it, we should do the things and put it where we're going to try to do things and actually facilitate it. It's not, you know, because we can always, every year is a new year for all the committees of council and their budget requests, so there's no need to pre-budget or, you know, have it available unless the work's actually gonna be occurring, right, within the 12 months, so that's why I'm asking.
Well, I think that it's a fair comment and question. I wouldn't be surprised many of the other committee members have thought the same.
Okay.
But as Karen said, like our full intent is to get that completed this year. There was different hiccups in sort of the old story, so many fingers in the pot. But I think with the new dynamic of the committee, I can see that being accomplished this year. I think Karen agrees with that. Yeah.
Yes, I would agree, Chairman Stewart, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Any other questions, concerns?
I have a couple more, if you don't
Sure.
mind, here, like I
Yes.
said. Karen, can you, it's more for you, I think, Karen, but I'll digress for a second. With regards to well, let's go to that one first. So, I'm just trying to understand, like, because what I think is new to me is landscaping for this station parquet. Because, you know, I think there's concerns and I think maybe even some division on council about what exactly we're trying to pursue with that station, at the station area where we're talking about the mural, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just gonna be frank, I can share in some of the conversations council's had is there's a concern about investing, you know, tens of thousands of dollars in that location. Because it's not, you know, I know the trail entrance is there, but there's no sidewalk, you know, there's limited access and it's not going to be really in any epicenter of the village moving forward with most of the growth working to the north. So what we have been discussing, and I think this committee's been a part of through Councillor Edgerton, is that, you know, when we're talking about like the new park that's gonna be created on the old arena lands, right? We're incorporating the bell there, and Needler's already has some significant sort of recognition from the historical element. I hope, or I wanted to maybe just put it, and I'm not trying to disrupt the budget process at this late, and I don't think there's any issue with the motion, I'm just trying to give you a forecast of what to expect. Is that there's a question as to whether that location, even though it is the location historically, is gonna provide enough of an audience for that historical recognition versus an area like, there was a reason they didn't paint the mural where the old station was, it's because that historical recognition was more prominent and visible on the side of the building in the downtown. And the initial project was funded to refurbish that mural for that purpose, to appreciate and recognize this historical significance of the station, but I think there's concern amongst council that investing a lot of money in that area, not undermining the significance of what's being recognized per se, but is it the best location to actually have an engagement and audience for that recognition versus maybe potentially even nothing necessarily dissimilar, but maybe some sort of integration to some sort of recognition at this, maybe in the downtown park, let's say, if this is gonna be more of a historical focused or park, that is some of our vision for the park anyways. And then maybe some sort of smaller sort of recognition of the location significance after the fact, so. I didn't know, like, I'm just trying to pull back the curtain from some of the council discussion that we've had. And just sort of share that with the committee, not trying to disrupt the request, you know, I'm just trying to. That's the conversation in the background that we're having a discussion about. But like I said, I'm not on the committee, I spoke with Councillor Edgerton and sort of said, if you talked about this, and he said, yes, but you can do it again, so. Like, okay, here I come. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that to the committee's consideration and maybe it can be talked about further, but it doesn't have to be today, like I said.
If I may, Chairman Stewart?
Yes, please, Karen, go ahead.
Okay, so Mayor Graham, the mural project has been in our minds for quite some time, and as you're aware, it has morphed into a signage project, and it is located at the Station Park trailhead, because that's the original location of the train station. And we started out with the concept, well, we didn't start out, but we arrived at the concept of, excuse me, you arrive in town by train because that was historically how many people got here, and then you start your journey. So that location for that particular signage is somewhat important, because then it will provide information about someone's arrival in Millbrook and how they get established and become part of the community. I think, if I may speak on behalf of the committee, we view this as one sign. There will be QR codes that will provide additional historical information, that will provide people with information to go to other sites. And I for sure would see, when the downtown park is constructed, whether it be all at once, in phases, however council chooses to roll that out, that we would be looking at additional signage in terms of significant events and people and places within the township. So I certainly understand what you're saying about not investing a ton of money at Station Park, but in terms of the landscaping that goes with the signage, it is $1,000. And when that money was put in the budget, it was intended just to landscape around the signs, or just to pretty it up, so you don't just have a bunch of weeds and odds and sods of gravel and whatever else might be down there. Just to plant a couple of, I'm not the landscaper, so John would be way better to talk about what might be appropriate, but that's really the intent. So those were the signage and a tiny bit of landscaping, and then I think the intention of the committee is to move on and look, once we get our map sorted out of how signage should look, and then we'll proceed to look at other locations and other information.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that, Karen. Just the reality is, it's a $15,000 project in an area that there's no parking, no pedestrian access, and that has, I have concerns about that. And it's not identified as, a significant park, and we have no money in the Parkland Reserve, having invested in the CMCC, so there's not gonna be amenities there. Thankfully, the Christian Horizons facility has provided, its own little park area there, so there's less pressure in that specific area of the village. But I just don't think it's ever going to have the significant foot traffic that the village will in any other capacity. And so that's the concern, is this will be one of the more expensive signs that the township would have ever created. And it's in an area that is not well traversed, other than for those using the trail, which is great. And so I'm not trying to trivialize the significance. I worry about that significant investment in an area where not many people go, and there's not any ability or plans or money to make it a space where more people can come and go. That's sort of just my feedback. And like I said, I'm not trying to dissuade, it's just, I'm trying to pull back the curtain, let you know what the discussion is, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to get budgets approved from every department and every committee, and they're all competing for the same few dollars. So that's just the feedback on it, but but by all means, I'm not trying to upset the apple cart. I'm just trying to provide some of the background conversations that we already had with regards to this project, because having been on the previous council, we rarely see projects get monies and then morph. Like, that's not usually how municipalities work. When you get the money, you spend the money on what you're intending to spend it for. And I know the mural was a significant project and there was lots of disruptions along the way, but I know that there's been some comments made by councilors to say, well, this isn't what was approved, and now we're coming back to approve it again, and we have concerns. So I'm not saying it will or it won't, I don't know, but we'll have to see.
Okay, if I may respectfully remind you, Mayor Graham, though, that a report was taken to council in the summer, and it was, the location and the concept was approved by council at that point in time. So the budget ask today is just reflecting
Right.
that
No,
endorsement.
and the project in its concept, yes, but the totality of it. So that's just to be clear.
Okay, well, I think it's, sorry, did I interrupt someone?
No, it's just, it's, yeah, sorry, now here, I'm just wondering, like,
Of course.
so I think it's really important to have you on the site, because the site then was. And it really, really was super significant, not just the Millbrook, but it's entire area, and that station. And, this has been in the works, but I think some of them track it. There has been some overages spending and so on. And I think that, we need to continue with something there. At this point, we've already been through, we've mentioned previously, council discussion in summertime. So I would think that at this point, I don't want to say it's a done deal, but we've certainly been working on it for something. And I think that it certainly doesn't negate putting up something at Arena Park either, but I think that signage around the village at major historic, so that people have a sense of what was where. And I don't know, this stage in the game, I don't know how we'll go back and renegotiate this. My worry is also that the money might not, if this money is taken away from the project, for example, but we might not get it back. At some point, given the budgetary restrictions. So. So,
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, are we at this point, can we move to making a motion based on our discussion today and my update? Or do we have any other issues that need to be discussed? Okay, so if you, Mark, I'm gonna just pull up the draft, just bear with me. Because I guess, how do you, Mark, just advise me, what would you like me to do? Do you want me to read the draft motion? Which basically,
Yes, could you read out the draft motion that was
Sure.
circulated to the members
Okay.
of the committee and is the one we're discussing?
Sure,
And if the
of course.
committee's happy with that, then you can proceed to a vote on it.
Okay, fantastic. So,
Just procedurally, I would like to, it's just like in council where you read out the bylaws. Yeah.
okay, just give me one moment and I will pull it up.
Also because it was included in the agenda.
Okay. So the proposed motion is that the Municipal Revitalization and Heritage Advisory Committee withdraw the budget requests from the September 12th, 2024 and October 28th, 2024 meetings and submit a revised budget request, and that the committee requests for the 2025 operating budget $500 for the Heritage Awards, $1,500 for the contracted services for mural restoration, $1,000 for landscape at Station Park, $3,000 for signage at Springville and Ebenezer cemeteries, and the addition of one new request for 2025 being funding for a summer student for the cultural mapping project, and that the committee requests for the 2025 capital budget of $14,000 with a rollover of the $7,000 in previously approved funding for the Station Park signage project. Do I have a motion? A motioner, sorry.
Mover.
A mover, sorry, mover. Nancy, thank you. And a seconder?
Yes. You have a vote as
Okay.
No, you don't need to vote.
Okay. And sorry, Mark, did I just we can proceed to the vote now, correct?
Yes, I'm going to proceed to vote. Sorry, there was a brief exchange between me and the mayor.
Oh, okay.
No, it's okay. Okay, in terms of vote, Chair Stewart
Yes, in favor?
and Nancy Davis. Deb Lucha. Mayor Verney, you are.
I didn't talk to him, but how do you vote?
Okay, the motion carries.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So that revised budget request will be presented to council. So,
Uh,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chair Stewart. I was going to catch you, but I'm going to see if you have a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say is now that we've passed that, we can move to the last item, which is adjournment. If I can have a mover. Deb, can I have a seconder? Nancy, all in favor?
Sorry,
And then
recorded
Mark,
vote.
do your thing. Yep.
Nancy Davis. Nancy. Deb Lucha. Mayor Graham. And Ashley Stewart.
Yes,
All right. Carried.
fantastic. Okay, well, thank you everyone so much for coming to this special meeting request today. Special thanks to our mayor. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you everyone for your help. Thank you.
Thank you.